Dynamics 365 Business Central Partner, 8 Things to Look For Before You Sign. Hey, welcome. In this video, we're breaking down Dynamics 365 Business Central Partner, 8 Things to Look For Before You Sign. Let's get into it. Next up, moving on to verified Microsoft certification level. A legitimate Dynamics 365 implementation partner holds the Microsoft Solutions Partner for Business Applications designation. This replaced the older Gold and Silver competency labels in 2022. Earning it requires passing technical assessments, maintaining verified customer success scores, and hitting minimum active deployment counts. A partner without it hasn't demonstrated their capabilities to Microsoft, and you absorb that risk directly. Beyond the base designation, look for additional specializations such as finance or low-code application development. These require separate audits and outcome reviews by Microsoft. They're not marketing claims, a partner either has them or doesn't. You can verify any partner's current status through the Microsoft Partner Network directory before your first meeting, which takes about 90 seconds. Some partners are strong on Azure infrastructure but light on Business Central functional depth. The two skill sets are related but distinct. A partner focused primarily on cloud migrations won't have deep experience with Business Central financial close processes, inventory management configurations, or warehouse workflows that manufacturing and distribution clients depend on. Ask directly, how many Business Central go-lives has your team completed in the last 12 months? A credible answer is 10 or more. Fewer than 5 deserves follow-up questions. Now, next up, industry experience that matches your sector. Business Central handles financials, supply chain, and operations differently across industries. Healthcare organizations need tight audit trails and HIPAA-aware configurations. Logistics companies need warehouse management and real-time inventory visibility. Financial services firms need multi-entity consolidation and regulatory reporting. A partner without experience in your sector makes configuration decisions that a specialist would never make, and you find out at month-end close. Ask for case studies in your industry with actual outcome data. We reduced month-end close from 8 days to 3 days for a 45-person distribution company is useful. We've helped businesses in your space is not. A strong track record in Dynamics 365 CRM implementation shows in the specifics, not the summaries. Our Dynamics 365 CRM implementation, a 6-phase step-by-step guide, walks through where industry-specific configuration decisions typically land across the project lifecycle, if you want a reference for what good looks like phase by phase. Let's talk about what does CRM implementation cost. Transparent pricing before you sign. CRM implementation cost for Dynamics 365 Business Central ranges from $15,000 for a simple 10-user deployment to $500,000 plus for a multi-entity, heavily customized rollout. Those numbers are genuinely that far apart because the scope variables span that range. What matters is whether your partner can give you a realistic cost band early in the conversation, not after a 12-week paid discovery phase. A credible partner estimates a rough cost band after a 1-hour discovery call. If they insist on a paid assessment before giving any number, that's a process preference rather than an automatic red flag. But if they can't estimate the order of magnitude without weeks of requirements gathering, that's worth questioning. Our detailed breakdown in Dynamics 365 consulting services, scope, deliverables, and typical pricing covers what each engagement tier typically includes and what separates a $50,000 project from a $200,000 one. Common cost drivers for any Business Central deployment. Let's talk about moving on to Dynamics 365 Business Central customization depth. Not every business requirement needs custom code. But when it does, you need a partner who writes it properly. The line between Dynamics 365 customization through UI configuration and actual AL extension development matters more than most buyers understand before their first implementation. Business Central's configuration options cover roughly 80% of typical business requirements without any development work. Workflows, approval chains, financial dimensions, and report layouts all configure through the standard interface. Custom AL code is appropriate for complex integrations, UI extensions, and business logic that the platform's configuration layer genuinely can't handle. A partner who defaults to code for every requirement drives up costs and long-term maintenance overhead. One who refuses to write code at all, limits what the system can do for you. The right position is configure where possible, code where necessary. Our guide on Dynamics 365 customization versus configuration lays out the decision criteria with practical examples from real deployments. Now, Dynamics 365 Business Central integration and migration services. Modern businesses don't run on one system. Business Central needs to connect with your CRM, e-commerce platform, payroll system, and sometimes your manufacturing or warehouse execution systems. Dynamics 365 integration services is a distinct skill from implementation, and partner quality varies considerably here. Business Central exposes a well-documented OData API for real-time integrations with external systems. Microsoft's Power Platform also provides hundreds of pre-built connectors that reduce custom development work considerably. A partner who builds custom APIs for every integration without first evaluating Power Platform connectors is spending your budget on work that's already been done. For Dynamics 365 integration services, ask these questions specifically. Do you use Power Automate for standard integrations or write custom code for everything? How do you handle retry logic and error logging when an integration fails at 2 a.m.? How do you document integration architecture so our internal team can maintain it? Now, next up, post-go-live support structure. Go-live isn't the finish line. The first 90 days after launch are when most issues surface, and the first month-end close is when financial configuration gets genuinely tested under real conditions. A partner who shifts to a slow response ticketing system the moment you go live has done you a disservice regardless of how smoothly the build phase went. Get the support model in writing before signing, response time SLAs for critical issues, whether you have named contacts or an anonymous ticket queue, whether hypercare is included in the project cost or billed separately, and what happens to your implementation team after launch. The best partners keep the same consultants who built your system available for at least 60 days post-go-live. You don't want to explain your business context to a new person when your inventory sync breaks at quarter end. Dynamics 365 consulting services shouldn't end at launch. Microsoft releases 2 major platform updates per year. Business needs evolve, and new modules get added as the company grows. A partner relationship that continues post-implementation is worth more than a one-time delivery engagement. Now, honest timeline and project governance. Dynamics 365 implementation typically takes 3 to 18 months depending on modules, users, and customization complexity. A 15-user Business Central deployment with minimal customization can go live in 10 to 12 weeks. A multi-site, multi-entity D365 finance and operations rollout with complex integrations can take 18 months. Both statements are true. The problem is when a partner quotes 12 weeks for a scope that realistically needs 9 months, and you discover the discrepancy after you've already signed. This range exists because the variables genuinely span that much. Adding manufacturing or warehouse management to a base financial implementation adds 6 to 12 weeks per module. User count drives training and change management timelines. Custom integrations typically add 2 to 6 weeks each. A partner who commits to a fixed 3-month timeline without scoping these variables first is either making an optimistic guess or setting up a scope dispute later. Watch for fixed-price contracts with no change order process, no named project manager on your engagement, no structured steering committee cadence, and no defined escalation path when issues arise. Good governance doesn't add bureaucracy. It prevents the scope creep conversations that derail otherwise solid implementations. Next up, let's talk about fit for your business size and complexity. This is a common point of confusion worth resolving before you start talking to partners. D365 Business Central is designed for SMBs with 10 to 300 users. Finance and operations targets enterprises with 300 plus users. The distinction matters when choosing a partner because some firms specialize in one product, not both. A partner who primarily delivers finance and operations will apply enterprise-level complexity to a Business Central project and bill accordingly. The reverse is equally problematic. Our detailed article on D365 Finance and Operations, Key Modules, Implementation Guide, and ROI covers what each product handles well and when the upgrade path from Business Central to Finance and Operations makes business sense. For companies under 50 users, Dynamics 365 for small business deployments rarely need extensive custom development. Business Central Essentials and Premium tiers cover financials, basic inventory, job costing, and CRM integration without touching code. A good partner tells you what you can run out of the box and steers you away from unnecessary customization spend. If every partner in your shortlist is proposing significant custom development for a 20-user business, that's a signal worth paying attention to. Let's talk about now how to run your final Dynamics 365 Business Central partner evaluation. At this point, you've narrowed to 2 or 3 credible candidates. All pass the certification check, have relevant industry experience, and have given you reasonable cost estimates. How do you decide between them? Score each finalist on a 1 to 5 scale across these 8 dimensions. That last dimension sounds soft. It isn't. Implementations run for months. A technically strong partner who communicates poorly with your finance or operations team produces a system configured around consultant assumptions rather than how your business actually works. We've seen that pattern more than once. Next up, conclusion. Choosing the right Dynamics 365 Business Central partner determines whether your implementation becomes a competitive asset or a year of expensive cleanup. The 8 criteria above reflect the practical difference between partners who've delivered this successfully and those still working things out on your project. Q Services is a Microsoft certified solutions partner for Dynamics 365 with 500 plus projects delivered since 2014, working with clients in healthcare, logistics, banking, financial services, and SaaS. We're direct about what your project will take, what CRM implementation cost you should realistically expect, and what Dynamics 365 consulting services you'll actually need after launch. If you're building your evaluation shortlist, reach out and we'll give you straight answers.